What's up, guys, and welcome to the Simple Podcast Checklist. Now, I know you guys want to start a podcast, so what I'm doing here is that I'm showing you guys a quick start, 7-step process to get your podcast started today. So let's tune in, let's get started. So we're going to talk about how to remove all the hurdles from a podcast launch to profitability. Yes, you can make money in a podcast, hosting a podcast. So let's hop into it and get you guys started on this blueprint. All right. So welcome. So this is a step-by-step checklist to start your podcast with confidence. Now, having a podcast, you have to be out there with confidence, and to be confident, you have to know what you're doing, how to do it. And really, most important thing is to get started. A lot of people talk about what's the most important thing in creating a podcast, and the most important thing, in my opinion, is to get started. I think we sometimes procrastinate in not getting started because we have fear, or we're nervous, or we're not quite sure how to start. So that's why I'm here. That's why this checklist exists, so you can get out there and figure out how to start and to create a podcast that fits your style, that fits your personality. And you know what? Being nervous, it's okay, right? When I first started, I was nervous. I had so many things in my head going on, but the key is to just get started. You don't need to be perfect to start, but you got to start to be perfect, right? All right, here we go. So step by step checklist. Now, why podcasting, right? Let's get into that. So we'll talk about why podcasting, who I am, and what you'll learn in this checklist, right? So why podcasting? So podcasting is an amazing tool to have a global audience, a global reach. Now, a lot of us are really we live in a certain community, right? And our reach probably only goes as far as our community based on our voice in our community, right? So with a podcast, you can have a global audience. You can reach people from your backyard all the way across the globe. Say if you're in California, someone can listen in China, in Africa, in Italy. I mean, it's not just in the States, it's across the world. It's a global reach. Now, podcasting as of 2023 has 464 million podcast listeners global, and that number is growing very, 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 very fast. People are tuning in to podcast every day, and it's growing massively. So now is the perfect time to get into a podcast. Now is the perfect time to start yours, because the growth is amazing. The growth is absolutely something that you want to be a part of. Next, why podcasting? Podcasting builds authority and credibility. So, say for example, you sell homes, right? You're an agent, and someone in your community is looking for the best agent that has the best tools, the best knowledge. But you know that it's not just you; you have thousands of other agents also in your market. So, what sets you apart is that you have a podcast. So if a potential buyer or seller goes on the internet looking for a realtor in, let's say, LA, California, and your podcast pops up and they listen to you, that gives you instant credibility, right? Because now they see you as a person of authority. Because why? You have a podcast, you're answering questions, you're doing things that most realtors don't do. Some do, but most don't. So your podcast is essentially it's a marketing arm for your existing business. If you have a business, it's a marketing arm for your existing brand, right? So having a podcast creates authority and credibility. Hosting a podcast positions you as an expert in your niche. Next, why podcasting? Podcasting is a very, very, very low barrier to entry. You don't need expensive equipment or technical skills to start. All you gotta do is get started, right? No expensive equipment. You can start with what you have, and we'll go over that, right? With what you have and no tech experience at all. Next, why podcasting? Podcasting creates a deep connection with your audience. Now, podcasting is a very, very, very intimate medium, right? Listeners feel that they're having a one-on-one conversation with you. So if I'm sitting in my car, or if I'm on a treadmill, if I'm on a walk, on a jog, if I'm doing something and I'm listening to your podcast, I feel like you're just talking to me. I feel like it's a one-on-one conversation. And most people listen to podcasts, they feel the exact same way, right? It's a deep, intimate conversation with listeners that want to hear what you have to say. All right. Next, why podcasting? Podcasting is a growing industry. Now, podcasting is one of the fastest growing media industries with listenership increasing every single year. Podcasting is growing by leaps and bounds, guys. All right. Leaps and bounds. So hop in now because between now and infinity, podcasting is going to be a very, 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 very lucrative industry. All right. Next, why podcasting? Podcasting has immense opportunities for monetization opportunities, right? You can make money from your podcast, right? Podcast offers many streams of income, right? You can do sponsorships, you can do affiliate marketing, premium content, and merchandise. And we'll get into that. We'll get into exactly how you can benefit and make money from podcasting. So, top podcasters earn 6 or 7 figures per year doing podcasts. Now, you guys hear my voice, right? And just imagine you making money from your passion. You making money from your voice. You making money from people listening to your knowledge. This is what podcasting has to offer. Who am I, right? So my name is Anthony Rudolph. I'm a father, entrepreneur, business owner, and most importantly, I'm a podcaster. So I have 2 podcasts. So my first podcast was called Born to Create, and I hosted with my good friend, Mrs. L. Jones. And we talked about how entrepreneurs can create what they want through business, through podcasting. But the whole purpose of that podcast is that we were interviewing people and talking about how you were put here to create and how you can create whatever you want, because we all have thoughts, we all have dreams, we all have visions and concepts of things we want to do. And a lot of times we put those things on hold or on the back burner because we choose to go and fulfill someone else's dreams or help them build theirs, but put ours on the back burner. So Born to Create was for entrepreneurs or business owners or really anybody who wanted to create their own lane, right? So that was a very nice podcast that I did. So that was my first podcast. My second podcast is my current podcast. It's called The Truth About Him. Now, that podcast is dedicated to men's health and wellness. So I wanted to really focus on men. I had a passion for men. I had a passion for men and helping men through their struggles, their challenges, and things that they go through every single day. So I was going through my own issues, my own challenges. So I'm like, hey, you know what? It can't just be me. It can't just be me who's going through these certain challenges in life. Other men have to be experiencing the exact same thing. So I host this podcast with my good friend. We talk about men's mental health, men's wellness every single week. And you can tune into that podcast. It's called The Truth About Him. Check us out. So not just my podcast, but I help other people, other entrepreneurs, other creators, other people who are passionate about unmuting their voice. I help them create podcasts. My good friend Natalie, she came to me and said, you know what, I have this brand called Women Of, and I want to do a podcast. And her podcast idea is kind of like mine, right? She wanted to help women. So we started the Women Of podcast, the Unnecessary Programming podcast, Live Life by Design podcast. So these are just a few of the people that I've helped create podcasts for. I help guide them through. So I don't just do it for myself. I help other people create podcasts as well. Over the last 30 days, my podcast got 19,591 views in 30 days. Now, it didn't seem big in the beginning, but I had to put it into perspective, right? We get so stuck on numbers, right? And yes, my podcast is not in the millions of views, not yet, but it will be one day soon. But we get so stuck on views. Now, 19,591 people views is the equivalent of the Staples Center / Crypto Arena capacity. Their capacity is 20,000 people. Now, just imagine that I'm standing in front of 19,591 people. How massive is that? How big is that? So I want you guys to really, really, really put it in perspective. When you start, you will get 10 views, 15 views, 30 views, 100 views, 500 views. But just imagine that if you had an audience of 30, 40, 50 people in person, how big is that? Imagine if you had an audience of 150 people in person. How big is that for you? So views equivalent to people. Views are eyeballs, right? Views are people that are looking at you. So whether it's online or in person, your viewership is massive, right? So when you started, don't focus on numbers because those numbers are really, really important. No matter how small they are, people are looking at you and people do want what you have to offer. So let's talk about what you will learn in this checklist, right? So we're going to go over 7 steps to get you guys going and moving in the right direction. So the first is how to choose the perfect podcast niche that aligns with your passion and audience demand. I believe that it's very, very important that you choose something that you're passionate about because in the podcasting game, you have to be consistent in what you're doing. Consistency wins the game. Consistency gets you paid. Consistency gets your podcast in the top 10 podcasts on the platform you choose, right? So you have to be consistent. In order to be consistent, you have to choose a niche that aligns with your passion. Whatever it is, it can be gardening, it can be travel, it can be politics, it can be mental health, it can be food, whatever it is, but make sure it's something that you're passionate about, right? And I'll show you how you can choose the perfect podcast niche for yourself, all right? Next is how to define your target audience and choose a listener persona / avatar to guide your content, right? So you have to figure out who am I talking to? And the best way to figure it out is look at you 5 years ago, right? Most of the time, our customer, our avatar, our listener is us, right? People, what are you interested in? What podcast do you listen to? Who are you? So we have to define, who our customer, who our listener avatar is to really figure out exactly how we want to guide them through our content. So you will learn the essential equipment you need to start recording high quality podcasts without breaking the bank. This is super important. We watch podcasts all the time. We listen to the podcast all the time, and we see certain setups that look like they're expensive, and they probably are. But what do you need? You need to focus on what you have. Okay? It's not about what you have. It's not about what you buy. It's about using what you have. Most of you guys have smartphones. I mean, you're probably watching this checklist training on a smartphone now. Smartphones are some of the best cameras out there right now in the market. At this point in your podcasting journey, you do not need to go out there and buy an expensive camera. If you can, fine. But for most of us, we want to start where we are because you know what? Podcasting sounds like a good idea, but you know what? In 6 months, it may not be for me. So why go out there and invest in all this equipment, these cameras, these lights, all these equipment, if you're not 100% sure that you're going to do this for 6 months to a year? It may not be for you, and that's okay. Podcasting may not be for you. So we want to start with what we have, and then once we get some momentum, at that point we go and invest in more equipment. Make sense? Hope so. All right. So next, what you'll learn: step-by-step instructions to record, edit, and polish your first episode like a pro. Right. So I'm going to show you exactly how to record it, how to edit it, how to polish it, and how to get it published. Right. We're going to get this done. So by the end of this checklist, you should be able to know you have the tools to get that first episode out. Right. Let's keep going. So also how to upload your podcast to all the major platforms like Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon. There are so many platforms out there that you publish a podcast on because people listen on different platforms: YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Amazon Music. There are so many, right? And you can do a video podcast or audio podcast. I do both because I believe in the power of video. And my podcast is hosted on YouTube, and then I'm on all the other major platforms as well. But we'll talk about that later on. So next, what you learn: proven strategies to promote your podcast and grow your audience quickly. Now, I liken podcasting to, let's go back to the realtor example. A lot of realtors, or really business period, they put a sign out in front of a house or put a sign out in front of their business saying open for business, but no one knows you're there. No one knows the house is for sale. No one knows what's in the store. No one knows your sales. No one knows your pricing, right? No one knows that you're in the corner of ABC Fifth Street. No one knows that. So you have to promote your podcast. You have to grow your audience. You got to see where are the people that are interested in what I have to say. Take your podcast and promote it to where they are. All right. So we talk about how to promote and grow audience. Monetize. Now, this is a good one. Most people, want to make money from their ventures. Now, this can also be a passion project, and you just do it just because you love it. That's okay too. But if you want, there are opportunities for you to make money with a podcast, you to monetize, and I'll show you how to do that if it's something that you want to do. So it's everything you're going to learn in this podcast checklist. Now, there also will be a PDF breakdown, so you can have a PDF, look at it, download it, take notes, but you'll have that as well along with this video checklist. But here's the thing. The thing is that you have to decide that you want to take action and start a podcast. That's where it starts. It starts not with an idea, not with the want, but I'm going to do this. This is something that I not want to do, but I'm going to do it. A lot of you guys have been tossing this concept around of podcasts, and you've heard the podcast buzz. You've heard so much about podcasting, but you have not yet taken the leap to start a podcast. So I challenge you, I implore you to get it done today. You've invested in this checklist. You've invested in this video. You've invested in learning. So I would take full advantage and take what you've learned and start your podcast today. It does not have to be perfect. It is not. You're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fumble your words. I'm sure you've heard me fumble my words many, many times over the past few minutes, right? But it's about your message. A lot of times we get stuck in wondering what people are going to think about us because, me, I talk too fast, I talk fast. I may stutter. I may do so many things. But however, the message that I have is bigger than me. And your message that you have has to be bigger than you. Your goal is to talk about something that you're passionate about and help people. That's your goal. So I want you to take this checklist, take this video training seriously, because if you do, you will be able to start a podcast that will live beyond you. This is your legacy. This is your voice. This is something that your grandkids or great grandkids or great great grandkids and your children's children can listen to for years to come. You have the opportunity to cement your voice in the world, right? So let's do that. So next, we're going to go into step 1 of 7, and I'm going to show you exactly how to pick a niche. So let's go. All right, guys, I hope that intro was very, very informative. I hope you took notes. I hope you learned something. I hope it was valuable. So the good thing about this checklist is that you can always go back to this training and watch this video over and over again, so you can get a better understanding on what to expect or what to do or how to move in your podcast. So one thing that I learned from my mentors is that repetition is the mother of all learning, and I'm sure you guys know that. I'm sure you guys have been very, very successful in your careers and know the power of repetition, the power of learning. So yeah, if you need to go back, and I'm sure you will go back and just watch this training over and over again, and also refer to the PDF, because the PDF also gives you a lot of insight as far as like what we're doing in the training. So next I want to talk to you guys about choosing your podcast niche. Now, this is very, very important. Why? One, because you want to focus on something that you're passionate about. Everybody has a passion. Everybody has something that they are expert in. Everybody has something they want to talk about, and we are no different. So we have a passion. So think about what your passion is. Think about what you love talking about. And I always say make a list of 5 to 10 things max, right? 10 subjects that you're passionate about and want to talk about, and then start narrowing those down from 10 to 9 to 8, 7, go down to number 1. Because one, if you're not passionate about it, then you won't really want to talk about it. If you want to talk about it, then it will be hard for you to start to record your podcast. So find something and pick something that you are passionate about. Also, research audience demand. Now, you have to figure out if your passion is something that people will listen to. Most likely it is, because most likely your passion is something that other people are passionate about. And again, you don't need millions of followers, millions of listeners to have a successful podcast. You just don't, right? So it's okay to pick a smaller niche or a not so big audience. Actually, in my experience, the smaller audiences is where most of the success and viewership and income is, because you're not swimming in red water where all the sharks are. You're in blue water. So even though your passion or topic may be broad and big, it's okay to pick something smaller, right? It is. It's okay to pick a smaller audience. It's definitely okay. Now, here's some podcast examples. It's like some niches, right? So you have personal finance, which is huge, true crime, which is huge, health and wellness. So these are all good topics. And one thing that I want you guys to realize is that there's going to be other people talking about the same thing you're talking about. Other people talking about the same niche, talking about personal finance, talking about true crime, talking about health and wellness. If you're in politics, if you're in education, whatever you do, there's going to be someone in there talking about the same thing you are. But the key is this. The key is that people are listening to you and how you express how you feel about that topic. They're looking at you as an expert because they like you. Even though there may be 50 or 60 or 1,000 other podcasts out there that talk about personal finance or politics, your listener is tuning in to hear your voice, to hear from you. They find value in you. And that's how you make your podcast stand out. You bring your own personal magic to your podcast. It doesn't matter how many other podcast creators are in that space, because you're bringing your unique voice to the platform. Okay. So in researching, you want to, one, look at other podcasts. Go to Spotify, go to Apple Podcasts, go to Amazon Music, go to Google Play, and just search other podcasts. Figure out the niche you want. So if you want to do personal finance, go to these platforms and look at personal finance. Also go to YouTube as well. Look at personal finance and see what the audience is like. See what people are looking for. See what they're searching for. See how popular these podcasts are. Because if they're popular, then you have something there. You know what the audiences want. You know what people are listening for. If you look at the bottom right, is a site called Answer the Public. AnswerThePublic.com is where people go and they ask questions on the net, right? And you can put in a topic, personal finance, true crime, health and fitness, politics, and you can see what type of questions people are asking for that topic, right? And then you can create your episodes based on what people are asking. Also, Google Trends, Google trends.google.com, right? Trends.google.com. You go there and you type in your proposed subject, your proposed niche, and it will tell you how big the demand is. It will tell you how many people are searching for that term in a certain time frame. It will tell you. So we have these tools. Go to Reddit, reddit.com. People are, there's a podcast out there where their podcast is solely based on answering questions or reading stories from Reddit, right? So there are so many tools that you can use to find your podcast niche, right? And it's just doing the research. The research is so important if you want to have a successful podcast. So one, figure out your niche. What are you passionate about? Next, figure out is that if there's an audience demand for that. Big, medium, or small, doesn't matter. Figure out what the demand is, right? And then go to Answer the Public, Google Trends, and Reddit to find out, how that how the topic that you want, how is it searched for. Step two. Step two is define your target audience. All right. Who is your ideal listener? So in step one, we talked about how to figure out if there's a demand for an audience for your podcast niche. So step two, we're going to expand on that. Okay. So you need to figure out who your ideal listener is. Who are you creating this content for? Who's the podcast for? So you want to create a listener avatar. Let me give you an example. So I'm sure you guys all know Tyler Perry, right? Tyler Perry, big producer, big filmmaker, director. So when he first started out, Tyler Perry made stage plays in Atlanta, Georgia, and his target was black women. That was his target because he knew that if I target black women, that they will bring their mother, they will bring their father, they will bring their boyfriends, they will bring their husbands, they will bring their sisters, they would bring people to the show. So what happened was that once he targeted black women, they brought their family, and then his audience opened up. He spilled over into other markets because he focused on one, knowing that one target, that one avatar, that one person would bring him an immense amount of new customers. So in podcasting, we do the same thing. We figure out who are we targeting, who are we talking to, right? And it has to be one person, right? And knowing that one person is actually millions of people, right? That makes sense. So let's dig into that. So you see at the bottom, name. So give him or her a name. Her name is Sarah, age 35. Her interest is budgeting and traveling. And you can even go as far as to figuring out where she works, give her a job title, how much money she makes, right? Is she educated? Has she done college? Did she just go to high school, trade school, right? Does she have kids? What kind of car does she drive, right? So the more detail you give your avatar, the easier it is for you to talk to your customer. And Sarah, age 35, interested in budgeting and travel. How many Sarahs do you think there are in the world? How many? Would you guess millions? You're correct. But this is what you want to do. You want to start and give your customer a identity. You want to create the avatar. So that's who you talk to in your content. That's who you talk to in your podcast. Every single episode is geared on solving Sarah's problem, answering Sarah's question, making sure that Sarah gets a fix from watching or listening to your podcast. That's your goal. So take some time and write down your avatar, your customer, your listener. Write down exactly who they are. Name, age, interests, all that. Car they drive, how much they make, schooling. Get as detailed as you can. Step three. So step three is to set up your recording equipment. Now, this is, of course, an important part of your podcast is having the equipment to go out there and start recording. So let's go over what you will need for recording. Now, again, I said it before earlier in the training is that you do not need to go out there and invest in a lot of equipment right now. One is because you have to know how to use it. Two is that you just need the basic equipment to get started. The goal is to get started, not to spend all your time, money, and resources trying to learn and buy new equipment. All right, so let's talk about the camera. Now, the camera is a very, very, very important part. However, use what you have. Most of you guys on this training, I'm sure all you guys on this training have a smartphone, an iPhone or a Samsung, Android. Those phones have some of the best cameras out there on the market right now. So I started with my iPhone. I started using my iPhone to record my podcast, and honestly, it looked better than most professional cameras out there, right? So you use one iPhone or Android phone, set it up, and recording. Of course, you need some lighting. And so just so you know, so everything that I'm mentioning here, I will have a link to buy it. So I'm gonna bundle up and create like a mini store for you guys, so you can go and just click and buy and it just comes to you. Okay, so I'll have that set up for you on Amazon, where you can go and get the equipment list already put together, so you know exactly what you need without having to go and search yourself. Okay, so I'll do that for you. So lighting, of course, lighting is so your subjects can see you and it looks professional. Now, I recommend, so let me go back a little bit. So podcasts, you can do a audio podcast only or video podcast only. I recommend doing a video podcast because you get the video and audio versus just doing the audio and just having audio. So if you have a video podcast, you have the video and you can pull the audio from that. Just in case you want to use the video, it's better to have it and not use it versus not have it and want it. I recommend a video podcast. However, you can still do a audio only podcast. That's totally okay. So next you need a microphone. Now, microphone is what gives you the crisp audio that you want to having a podcast, because your listeners, they're listening and they want to hear you, right? They want to hear your voice. And if there are any issues with excess noise or no clarity or a lot of room noise, then most likely they'll probably tune out because it's going to be too many distractions. Okay, so you want to have a really good microphone, and I will again list 3 microphones in the equipment list, so you can go and pick which one you want. Okay. Next is headphones. Now, the headphones is only for if you're doing a audio only podcast. Why? Because you want to be able to hear your voice. Like right now, I have on headphones and a microphone because I want to hear how my voice sounds. I want to make sure that I'm being clear and crisp, because I have a tendency to talk fast sometimes, right? I have a tendency to have a little stutter. So I want to make sure that everything that I'm hearing comes through, because I want to make adjustments, right? I want to adjust how I talk, how I sound, how I enunciate my words, my tonations. I want to adjust that for every single show or podcast. So I listen. Now, when I'm doing my video podcast, I don't have earphones on, right? Because I want to, it's presenting like a TV show in a sense. Okay. Next is what's called a pop filter. Now, a pop filter, I don't use too much. It just depends on how you're talking, because a pop filter is just what it is. It eliminates the pop sounds when you're talking. So that's something that you really don't, it's not necessary, but it's something that can help. Next, let's talk about recording software. Now, if you're doing audio only, you can use a software like Audacity or GarageBand, Adobe Audition. So if you guys choose to use the Adobe Premiere software for the video, then the Audition comes with the package. So that number of $20 a month, $30 a month, whatever you choose, you get a full suite of products with that. So these are for Audacity and Adobe Audition, or for audio only. So Premiere is for video, but you can pull the audio out of that. That makes sense. So really, this is all you need. Not really, but this is all you need to set up and start recording. Okay. And I know right now this may seem a bit overwhelming, but I promise you, once you start to take action and get used to and really start moving, you'll see how easy it is for you to really get this stuff set up and start your podcast. So camera, lighting, microphones, headphones, pop filter, recording software, and you're all set to go to record your first episode. Step 4. Step 4 is to record the first episode. Now, this is big, because this is where most people get stuck. This is where most people get anxiety, get fear. This is where most people want to be perfect before they start. This is where most people don't start, right? Because now it's go time. Now it's time to buckle down and take action on that decision you made to start your podcast. So first, we want to outline your episode structure. All right. First, find out, what am I talking about? What's it about? Right. Once you have that, then your structure. First, your introduction. Introduce yourself. Every episode, introduce yourself. Every episode, say, "Hey, my name is Anthony, and here's the podcast. And today we're talking about this." Your intro. And then your main content. Your main content, of course, is what you're talking about. So if it's about personal finance, today's topic is that we're going to talk about how you can go from a 30-year mortgage to a 15-year mortgage without changing your interest rate or without having to increase your payment, right? That's the main content of the podcast, right? You have your intro, who you are, your main content, meat of the podcast. After the main content, you have your conclusion. Wrap up, recap what you talked about. Tell people to like, to subscribe, to share. Because once someone likes your podcast, they're going to share. And they may be thinking about it, but you give them a call to action. Please like, subscribe, and share this content, this podcast, with anybody that you think will benefit from this information. And people will share. They will. People will like, they will comment, and ask them to subscribe to your podcast. Because once someone subscribes to your podcast, your audience is growing. And if the platform sees your audience is growing, they will give you opportunities to monetize and make money off your content. So always tell people to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Okay? And because our goal is to get this thing to grow. That's our goal. And after the conclusion, you go into what we call post-production, edit, and then you broadcast your content, your podcast. Step 5, we're going to edit our podcast. We're going to get this show ready to go. You shot it, right? It's done. The hardest part is over, right? The anxiety is over, right? Well, the first part is. So we want to get this thing ready to go out there in the marketplace. So we're going to remove noises and mistakes. Now, in a podcast, there's going to be noises. I saw a podcast once, and there was a cat in the background just going crazy. Meow, 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 going crazy. So you have to make sure that the listening experience is amazing for your viewers, for your audience. Mistakes. You're going to make mistakes in your podcast. Plain and simple. It's going to happen. There's no perfect podcast. Now you may get some episodes where ain't that big of a deal, but you will stop. You'll forget what you got to say. You will cough. You will sneeze. I mean, there's so many things that will happen. You will say something in your podcast like, you know what? Maybe I don't want to say that. So you go back and take it out. You want to add intro music. You want to have some kind of bring some life to your podcast in the beginning. You want to have an intro music to get the viewers ready, and it gives your podcast a brand. Every time they hear this music, they know this is the Truth About Him podcast. This is the podcast that I've been waiting for. This is the show. This is the week, right? So you want to have some intro music and outro music for your podcast. Next, the editing software. Now, I use Adobe Premiere for mine, and we're going to show you exactly how that works. We're going to show you how to do a quick, simple edit in Premiere. All right, guys, welcome to the editing portion of the checklist. So I just want to show you real quick how we go from this, as soon as it loads, this to this. All right. So we're going to use a program called Adobe Premiere. Now, this is a pretty robust program, but it's very, very simple to use. So what you use it for is really just to trim the fat, in a sense, off of your episode. What I'm teaching in this checklist and this training is to just use one camera. Right now, while you're starting, you don't need a robust or a multi-camera setup. Just one camera is fine. So I'm gonna just show you real quick how I do the edits for my podcast, as far as like putting it in, trimming the fat, adding music, and so you can see how simple it can be. Now, once you get to a point in your podcast where you can afford to outsource the editing, I suggest you do, because outsourcing really saves you time. You want to be on the creative side, right? That's what you want to be. So if you can outsource, have someone edit for you, that will be ideal. Now, if you can do it now, that is perfect. We'll give you some options as well on how to outsource, what to outsource, when to outsource. But outsourcing is the best thing to do once you're established, or if you can afford it now, do it. But if you cannot, again, we want to start with what we have. So here's what we do, right? So I go here and I take the footage from my podcast. Let me close this and I dump it into the timeline, just drag it over, right? It's going to ask me, it's a clip mismatch, and it really doesn't matter which one you do. So we can just do keep settings. So this is how it comes in, right? Because I shot this podcast episode in a bigger frame in a sense, so it was shot in 4K, but this screen right here is only a 1080 screen, right? So that means the screen is smaller than the footage. So simple, no problem, right? So what we'll do is drag this down. We'll click on here and make sure everything's highlighted, right? Go up here, go to effect controls, and right here we have the scale, right? So we can scale up or we can scale down. So we want to scale down, and my goal is to cover up all the background, and also has position, right? And you can go up, down, left, right. So I'm gonna take it up a little more. All right, that's simple. So now we have the scale. Now we have all the necessary background for the podcast background. It's all gone. Now you just see the black screen and you see me and my podcast partner. Okay. So here, this is right here. It's called your timeline, right? Your timeline is where all the footage goes. Everything goes. Your footage, your graphics, your music, your audio, everything goes on the timeline. And if there are any gaps in the timeline, it'll be black, right? So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna click here, highlight it, and I'm gonna push delete. It's gonna take it all the way back to the beginning. And down here is where you can increase the timeline so you can see all the sound waves, right? Make it bigger, make it smaller. You can see the end of the podcast, okay? So what you're gonna do is gonna be very, very simple. Go to the beginning, make this a little bigger. And you can see that right here, there's dead space, right? So this is where we are starting, okay? So I'm gonna go here. So you see these sound waves here? This means that we're talking. This is where I start talking, okay? So bring that there. Now I'm gonna go here. So this little icon up here is a selection tool, right? Go to the end. When it's red, that's where you want it to be. So you can see here, it goes black. You don't want that. You want red. You're gonna drag it all the way down to where I start talking, right there. Again, highlight, delete. This is where I start. Okay, that's where I start. And now what you want to do is you want to go to the end of your video and you want to trim off where you stop. You stop, it's about there. I'm saying peace. Okay, so that's a really, really basic edit. Now, during the podcast, you may make mistakes. You may cough, or you may have to stop. You may have to, something may happen where you want to take a portion of your mistake out. No problem, right? So just say this section right here is where I messed up, right? So over here on the toolbar, you want to go down to the razor, right? The razor tool, click that. I'm going to take out this portion, right? Take that out. Once it's out, go back to the selection tool, highlight that, click delete, and now that section of where you messed up or something that you don't want in, or you said something that you don't want everybody to hear, you take it out, right? Simple edit. Okay. So that's how you do a basic edit of your podcast. Now you're going to be shooting um, with a microphone. So the audio on your camera may not be good, but we'll show you how to add audio in there as well. All right. So the audio's here for now. So next I'm going to show you how you import your music. Now I have music from my other one, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to copy. Let's go over here. Copy this music. Go back to the test. We don't want that up there. I'm gonna pull this back up. Sorry about that. Then you're going to paste my music there. I'm gonna paste two of them. So I want one at the beginning and end, intro and outro. So I drag this over here to the end on this side. Make it smaller. Drag this to the end. And now you have music in the beginning and music in the end. So make that bigger, and over here is where you can adjust your audio. So you see these white lines here? This is where you can adjust your audio. This is your main voice. This is you or you and your co-host. And this down here is your music. Okay? That's how you adjust the sound. And you always want your music to be lower than your actual main audio. Okay? Always. So people, because you want people to hear the music subtly, but pay attention, not be distracted by your main topic, your main dialogue, your main concept. All right. So also you can put in a logo. Let me go and so let me just copy this from my other one. Put it here. Let's paste it over here. Drag this over. Again, so this is the red. You want to extend to the end. And this is already set as far as a size, so I'm gonna reset it so you can see it. So here's the reset. So you can drag it down to the corner, and remember you can scale it. So scale it down back to the corner, and bring it down some. So this is how you can set your logo as well if you have one. This is a very simple edit when you're doing a one camera setup. Eventually, once you get to a point where, I mean, if you want to, you can do a 3-camera or a multicam, but that is a different editing style. But I want you guys to know that once you get to a point again, you want to outsource your editing. You want to get somebody who specializes in editing so you can focus on being the creator and focus on the content. But for now, if you cannot or want to learn or it's not in your budget, this is a simple way to do it. This program is called Adobe Premiere. It's between $19 and $29 per month, depending on if you're a student. They have better discounts. They have deals for teachers, educators. So I'll have a link for this in the checklist. But this is a simple way to edit your podcast. And you see, this took me minutes to do it. And I'm a little bit faster, but I will show you guys how it works. So this is the best way to edit quickly. Hope this helped. Hope you're following. Let's hop in. And you can use Audacity or GarageBand for audio only and Adobe Audition we talked about before. So these next few steps are what we're doing to wrap up and get it ready for broadcast. So stay excited and let's keep going. It's time. Step number 6. We're going to upload to all podcast platforms. So we're going to choose a hosting platform, Buzzsprout or Anchor. So I use Anchor, and now it's called Spotify Podcasts, right? So this is a free platform where you upload your podcast to the platform, and Anchor or Buzzsprout, they distribute your podcast to all the podcast platforms, and there are so many, right? You have Apple Podcasts, you have Amazon Music, Google Play, you have Stitcher, you have so many podcast platforms. But the really cool thing is that Anchor will submit to these directories for you, and they will broadcast your podcast on your behalf with just one click of a button. And I'll show you exactly how that works. So once you do that, your podcast is live. It's ready to go, right? It's out there in the podcast world. Your next step is to start to promote your podcast. Tell people where you are. Tell people that you're here. The worst thing a business can do is to open their doors and not let people know that they're open for business. The best thing they can do is to open the doors and tell the world, hey, I'm here. Come in, come see me. So for your podcast, it's the same thing. You have to market your podcast and get it out there in the world and let people know that you're ready and you exist. Here are the podcast directories. I mean, this is where your podcast is going to go. You got Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Google, Good Pods, iHeartRadio is a big one, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Apple Podcasts. There are just so many. There's so many. And once you get connected with Buzzsprout or Anchor or Spotify podcasts, then these are automatically done for you once you submit your podcast to the platform. Quick and easy. Step 7, we talked about this briefly. Promote and monetize your podcast. Now, you want to be in a place where you are consistently sharing your social media and using your podcast. You want to share clips. Now, what I do on my podcast is that once the podcast is complete, I have my 30 minutes, 45 minutes, hour podcast. I go back and I take out 3 to 5 clips from my podcast because I want to promote. I want to promote 15 to 30 seconds to a minute of my best content because people are seeing that, oh, that sounds good. Now let me go watch the whole podcast. So you want to share that every day. Share that again. So this is a job that requires time, right? Having a good podcast is like a job. It is a job, and it requires time. So you can outsource this as well. You can find a person or a company to go through your podcast. Your editor, person that you choose to edit. While they're editing, they go through your podcast, pull out some amazing clips, and get them ready for social. This can be done by you. You can do it. However, if you want to outsource it, you can do that as well too. Next, monetize through sponsorships, premium content, and affiliate marketing. Sponsorships. Now, there are companies out there who are actively selling products in the arena or subject matter that you're talking about. For example, if you are talking about health and fitness, you can partner with a health and fitness brand. They may do meal prep, they do supplements, they may do something vitamins. So they can sponsor your podcast by paying you a monthly fee or a one-time fee to talk about their product on your podcast. If you're doing finance or investing, there are investment platforms that you can talk about on your podcast that will pay you a sponsorship fee to talk about their platform on your podcast. Premium content. You can offer, if your podcast comes out on Thursdays, people can pay you a monthly fee to see it on Wednesday. They get a preview or they get it first, or they can see behind the scenes content. Now, premium content is more down the line, as you get advanced, but I'm just telling you how you can begin to monetize and make money from your podcast. So I think the number one way right now for a podcast that's just starting is affiliate marketing. For example, if you are talking about personal finance, health and fitness, anything, you can reference a book that you read on personal finance. Sign up for the Amazon affiliate program. If you share that link on your podcast of that book that you read, if your viewer, your listener, buys that book, Amazon pays you a commission. And even better, If that person clicks your link and buys your book and they buy anything else from Amazon for their house, for their children, for their kids, or whoever, you get a commission off of that as well too. So it's important that you sign up for this program. Now it can be not be Amazon. It can be Walmart. It can be a real estate company. I mean, most of these bigger companies, they have affiliate programs where you can sign up, and if you talk about their product and have a link, if someone buys that, you get a commission off that. So affiliate marketing is going to be the fastest way to make money now, because honestly, in the beginning, there will be a small audience, so you won't get much sponsorship, and premium content takes a while to produce. So the affiliate marketing play is the best one right now for any podcaster getting into the market right now. Let's talk about visuals, icons, imaging, representing, promoting, right? So you want to have a logo, and logos, again, they're easy to do, right? We can walk you through that as well too, but you want to have something that represents your podcast, that says, you know what, and when someone sees that, they know that it's you. Okay, so this is the way that you want to promote and monetize. This is very, very important, because you have to let people know where you are and who you are, or who you are and where you are. It's very, very important. So this is the process of launching a podcast and potentially making money from the podcast. And I definitely want you to know that you can do this, right? It's something that you can do. I've done it, and there are some other people who have done it. But the goal is to get started. Let's get ready to launch your podcast. Now is the time. This checklist is complete. Now you can launch a podcast with this checklist. You can get up and going and be miles ahead of anyone else that are trying to or want to have the idea of podcasting. Remember, be creative, have fun, and practice active listening to enhance your performance. Right? And I wish you guys all the luck in your journey. Now, if you want to go further with me and you want to learn more about the in-depth process of podcasting, then let's go. I am open and willing and ready to help you guys get going and go more in depth. But to be honest, this is a podcast checklist that you can use and take and start a podcast. But the goal is to keep going and make it happen. So I hope this was informative. I thank you for your attention. I thank you for listening. I thank you for trusting me with your vision, with your dream and your goal. And I hope that this works out for you. I wish you the best luck, and I'm always here to answer any questions. Have fun, guys. Good luck, and we'll see you.